All right. Um, Good afternoon and welcome to the final presentation of Careers and Connections in Public Service, the Power and Versatility of a KU Master of Public Administration degree. My name is Carrie Ann Kreinop. I am the MPA Program Manager and Advisor. I have served in this capacity since the beginning of 2019. I work with students at the Edwards and Lawrence campus, and when enrollment gives us enough students who are in the Topeka area, we do also offer some classes in Topeka. We're not there at this point in time, but we're not really anywhere due to the pandemic. So I'll talk a little bit more about class structure and how that's looking right now and how it will continue to look in the future later on in the presentation. I have been with the University of Kansas since 2014. I have always worked in graduate education at KU. Prior to working in the MPA program, I worked with 7 programs in the humanities. Um, Pretty much all of the languages and philosophy were under my purview. So I've seen graduate education through multiple scopes, through a lot of research centric scopes. And so shifting over to a professional program was definitely a transition, but I've gotten a lot of joy and validation out of working with people who want to serve in the community. And so I'm going to share a little bit about their journeys today and how we have updated the curriculum to further instruct and further inform how they are serving out in the community. Before I do that, um, I will say, talking a little bit about the structure of the Master of Public Administration degree, it is housed in the School of Public Affairs and Administration, which is actually underneath the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences umbrella, which is then part of the University of Kansas system. Because of that, we have a lot of different sorts of access to resources and access to systems that some other programs don't necessarily enjoy. So in within the way that we're situated, I'll share some of those resources later on in the presentation that will hopefully give you um, a little bit of an idea of the advantage of our program as it is situated in the University of Kansas. For our agenda today, we are going to do some quick introductions. Thank you, Sam. Um, and then we'll move on to the more boring thing, which is the program logistics. The reason why is because I think that it's important to thread through the sort of careers and folks you're going to be working with in public service. In thinking about that future step, the curriculum is a really solid base to build from because it's built on practical knowledge and values that we really expect from our civic and public service leaders. After we go through that, which is going to be the bulk of the presentation, we'll go into building your network in and beyond the classroom. So, there we're going to talk about some soft skill opportunities and resources that exist in the program and how each of those are really stepping stones to increase your network and to increase your professional profile and how you present yourself out as a public service leader upon graduation. Then we will basically graduate you from the department in theory, and we'll look beyond the MPA and we'll just get into the details of where our graduates have been professionally and what a representative graduating class is doing about 6 months from graduation. So we'll pull up some of the numbers and data and dig into it a little bit at that point in time. So again, sorry, we're going to do the drier content first. We'll hit on some admission things if you'd like to after the fact. But really, if you have any interest in getting into those weeds and final questions, we could definitely do that too. First of all, though, let's get to know you a little bit more. So for the introduction, here's your cheat sheet. Just name, where you are geographically, where you are in your public service journey. For that, you have between 2 options. Really, there's the exploration phase in thinking about there are so many different public service sectors where you can work in. There are so many ways to get into those sectors. There are so many degrees that you can get in order to get into a professional trajectory that you're interested in. So, really, it's just kind of asking yourself those questions of where do I want to be? What do I value? That is what the exploration phase looks like. For the mission statement phase, you're in a bit more of a holding pattern of you have decided what your values are, what you want to go into, and what sort of mission statements of organizations speak to you, and what you're interested in doing. So that's the difference between exploration and mission statement. And then any ideas of what you'd like to learn today, I'd love to hear those just so I can hit those high points in the presentation.
Okay. So my it's Samantha Martins. I go by Sam. Pronouns are she and her and hers. I'm currently in Lee Summit, Missouri, at my parents' home, but normally I'm in Lawrence, and I'll be back there as soon as the semester starts again. Um, but yeah, right now I'm probably in the exploration phase, trying to figure out exactly what I want to do. I'm looking more towards like a nonprofit route, but I'm not exactly like completely set on that yet. Yeah, other than that, ideas of what I'd like to learn, more of like the practical, like what the program looks like and how it works and all of that jazz.
That's
But
great.
that's about it.
Thank you for sharing, Sam. And
Mhm.
I will tell you what, you are just going to love our first dryer agenda item then.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and dive right into the program logistics. Um, One thing that I will say about the program itself is that we do have our program running across two campuses, both the Lawrence campus and the Edwards campus, which is situated in Overland Park. So definitely within that Kansas City metro area. Um, Within the degree itself, there are several paths to the MPA, to that Master of Public Administration degree. Um, we have the MPA curriculum, obviously. Um, I make the distinction there because it is the classic, tried and true, most flexible way of approaching the curriculum and earning the MPA degree. The reason I say that is because our other popular program is the City Management Fellows program, that second bullet point. The MPA curriculum within within the fellowship program is certainly more prescribed insofar as when we get into the math and kind of understanding how our credit hour requirements are chunked out, there is less flexibility in the elective portion of the degree in order to earn those credits. There are more prescriptive classes like the PUAD 851 Infrastructure Management course is required for our MPA fellows. We also have several seminars that our MPA fellows complete within their second year when they're actually out somewhere around the country doing that full-time internship as part of the curriculum. In the first year, they're taking 37 credit hours of that 43 credit hour degree. So very academic heavy, very engaged in the program and the concepts in the first year, and then in the second year, really stepping out into the world to apply them in real time. So that's what the City Management Fellowship looks like. It's really looking to train and engage and put excellent local government leaders out into the world. The MPA curriculum is certainly more flexible in so far that that is where you will look to specialize in a nonprofit or a public nonprofit specialization, public policy, urban planning, law and society, performance management, any one of those options as the specialization within the degree. You could also, I will say, do city county management specialization in the more flexible curriculum. So there's definitely play within that as well. We also have a couple joint degrees. What joint degrees mean, as a KU definition, is that two degrees are completed concurrently, and some credits are shared across for both. So for the joint Juris Doctor degree and the MPA degree, what that looks like is you're taking some law classes, 9 credits of law classes that count across towards the conferral of your MPA, and then you're taking some MPA classes that count across towards the Juris Doctor degree. It minimizes it gives you less credits that you need to take. It does still take just about 4 years to earn the joint degree for both the Juris Doctor or the MUP, which is the Master of Urban Planning, which is our professional program that is also underneath the School of Public Affairs and Administration, with the MPA degree. So we share cross credits for both the Urban Planning Masters and the Public Administration Master's degree. Any questions about those pathways? All right, so let's dig into the actual curriculum of the MPA. We have a 43 credit hour requirement. Um, we have, just breaking down the math really quickly, 16 credit hours of core courses, 12 credit hours towards a SPA certificate, 12 credit hours of electives, or a second SPA certificate. This is the play. This is the playpen. The 12 credit hours of electives can be counted towards several different ventures, and we'll dig a little bit more into that. 3 credit hours of experiential learning, and a final exam essay to be completed in the final semester. So that's all the math. Let's break it down. The 16 credit hours of core courses are all of the courses that are required to complete and encompass our NASPA accreditation competencies. Um, as you're looking across the country and kind of exploring options at other public administration programs, do make sure that they are accredited by NASPA. That stands for the Network of Schools of Public Policy Affairs and Administration. That is the accrediting body the public administration schools should comply with and have approval by. Um, these 5 courses, the context, ethics, legal environment of public administration, the managing public organizations, data-driven decision making, managing public money, and creating good public policy, those 5 courses cover everything that the NASPA competencies require. And just, do you know what the NASPA competencies are? Pop quiz? I know, I know. I have them written down. That's the only reason I know. All right. So the NASPA competencies are to lead and manage in public service. So as I'm talking through these, kind of look at the titles of the courses to see where you identify the crossover. Lead and manage in public governance, participate in and contribute to the public policy process, analyze, synthesize, think creatively, solve problems, and make decisions. That one's loaded, isn't it? Um, articulate and apply public service perspectives, and communicate and interact productively with a diverse and changing workforce and citizenry. See how we're trying to encompass that in those core courses? What we like for students to do when they do the MPA degree is to take at least 3 to 4 of these right off the bat when they start in the program, because if they're like you, Sam, and they're in the exploration phase, kind of getting the breadth of information and really solid base of understanding of what public administration is going to help you clarify what your mission statement phase looks like in your public service journey. So we do recommend that those happen first, just because it is really helpful in shaping you as a public service leader and clarifying where you are wanting to go after graduation, and also what sort of resources and conferences and seminars you want to take part in as you are a graduate student here with us. Any questions about those core competencies? Great. All right, so we'll move on to the 12 credit hours towards a SPA certificate. Um, at the beginning of 2020, we rolled out a new curriculum that allowed for a lot more space in what students want to specialize in. In doing that, we created 4 new graduate certificates. The tried and true ones that we had already had for a couple years were the City County Management Certificate and the Performance Management Certificate. We rolled out at the beginning of 2020 a Law and Society Certificate, Public Nonprofit Management, Public Policy, and Urban Planning. Reason being is because those are the content areas that we have great faculty in who can really help you shape yourself and deepen your understanding within those particular content areas. There are definitely other sectors and other specialization areas in public administration, but these are the ones that really speak to how we speak to our strengths as an MPA program and what we can offer. So within celebrating those accomplishments and the great research that our faculty does, these are our areas of specialization. Now, when I say certification, students are welcome to either just take courses towards that specialization, or earn a credential and earn an actual graduate certificate by just doing an additional application process while they're already in the MPA program. And that helps me in just making sure that the courses that you're wanting to take are going to be offered in the future when you're actually completing the program. It's just a helpful way to keep everybody on track and everybody doing the courses that they want to do. Any questions about those graduate certificates? Okay, so let's go to somewhat of the program sandbox, the program playpen. Um, Within the 43 credit hours, we have those 12 credit hours of electives that can be used towards either a second SPA certificate. So if you have a vested interest in doing city and county management, but also really want to get some good data analysis and kind of program evaluation skills underneath your belt that you can apply into your local government position, then you can definitely do the city county management certificate and the performance management certificate. All of the certificates pair really well together and also help just kind of build skills of whatever niche you would like to be in public service. So, second SPA certificate is definitely an opportunity, or another public service relevant certificate that is offered outside of the School of Public Affairs and Administration. Some of the pre-approved ones that we have that all you need to do is just let us know that you're interested in taking it, and then we'll hook you up with the leader of that program to work through their application process. Environmental justice is a really popular one with our graduate students. Um, we see a lot of folks pairing that with a public policy certificate. Project management is a really great one that's actually offered through the School of Professional Studies at the Edwards campus, but it initially came from the School of Engineering. So it just gives a really interesting shift on how to approach project management and how to use data to solve problems and work through projects. That's a really great pairing with a performance management certificate. Um, we also have the Applied Community Health Development certificate that goes wonderfully with the performance management, the public nonprofit certificate, law and society, because there's so much inequity in health services and where they're offered within any given community. And then the professional workplace communication, that's just kind of icing on the cake for any one of the certificates, really. So, a lot of great flexibility outside of the school that we definitely want to help you get as diverse of an experience as you can in working with other disciplines. So, that is those 12 credit hours of electives. The final, more nebulous 3 credits that are required of the 43 credit hour degree is the experiential learning credit. So this is a course that's completed towards the end of the program. What that looks like is up for debate and also up for discussion. Um, what most of our students do are that second bullet point, the leadership seminar. What that looks like is a senior executive leadership conference, like what University of Virginia offers. But it is for credit, and it is just a really great way to shift the scope of all of the lecture courses that you've been taking up to this point. So that experiential learning credit, just like it says, it is a course completed towards the end of the program that connects concepts of public service outside of the traditional MPA lecture course format. So you could be looking at a PhD course with approval, a study abroad. There are some great programs that run that can take you to just learn about public policy at an international institution or at an institution in a foreign country. Local government internship is a really nice way. And we do have resources that kind of give you hints about who is hiring for those sorts of part time internships to just help you connect with community folks that are looking for great, talented students who have some of these great public service skills already as a part of their profile. Um, and I say et cetera just because, again, this is our one of our more nebulous requirements, but also one that we really want to be sure that students have just a change of perspective in a way that helps them apply all of the information that they've gotten out of the master's degree in a different way. So that is that final credit requirement. And then the final exam is really it's the final master's exam for our master's program. So every graduate program at the University of Kansas has some sort of final exam component. This is ours. What it really does is it serves as a final case study to just show off all of the concepts and skills that you've learned and apply them to one problem. So it is instructions, a rubric. We set everyone up to just show off everything that they've learned. And then that is one of the final components of the degree. And then you are graduated. Congratulations, essentially. So let me dig into a couple notes about the actual classes themselves now that we've gone through all of that credit requirement. Do you have any questions about the credits? Fantastic. I'm not great at math, but I feel like the 43 credit hours break down pretty well when you just put them out like that. All right, so some notes on classes. Each campus lecture course is scheduled on one evening for the semester, and that's talking about in-person hybrid formats where there is some sort of Zoom or meeting component to it. So in the evenings, a majority, about 90% of the classes are offered in the evening starting at 6 p.m., which is fantastic for our Edwards campus students who are driving in from various places around the KC Metro to take their classes. It's great for our Lawrence campus students because most of the lots stop ticketing at 5 p.m. So then you can park wherever you need to on campus to get to the building. It's pretty great. Some courses may be offered in accelerated, hybrid, or online formats. Um, what I will say about those 16 credits of core courses, we do try to offer those in person just because we want to be sure that you're building a community right off the bat and really having more in-person assistance helps the faculty know that they're on track with getting you the sort of information that's important to be successful in the course. Um, Most our students do complete 1 to 2 courses per semester, and that's just depending upon funding, availability, life circumstances. There are a lot of different reasons where students might take 2 and 3, especially if they have funding that requires them to be enrolled full time. Full time for graduate students is 9 credits for the fall and spring semesters and 6 credits for the summer semesters. So for students on military or veterans benefits funding, that tends to shift what their full time or what their capacity looks like as far as taking courses. Students do have up to 7 years to complete the program. So for our students who are looking at like, I can commit to one class in a semester, I can't do summers, that puts them at just about 5.5, 6 years. So that puts them underneath that 7 year deadline for sure. There shouldn't be too much of a reason why you would need to be extend this beyond 7 years, hopefully. Fingers crossed. There's always a first time. All right, we do have the 2 campuses that offer versatility of MPA courses, professional program electives, the 2 campuses being the Lawrence and Edwards campus. We offer all of the core courses at each of the campuses one time a year, so twice a year total. That just helps in folks taking those courses as they need to. And then all of the required courses that are the required courses for the SPA certificates, we do offer on a really regular basis and try and alternate them between the campuses just to make sure that students are getting the courses that they need to take. Um, there is a diversity of professional experiences in the classroom, and that is across all of the classes that we have. Um, because we have so many folks who are coming in who are either mid-career deciding to shift into a career in public service, or we have folks who have been working in public service at either local government or at a nonprofit for a couple years to decades, and they want to come back for the academic credential. So much of what you get out of the classroom experience also hinges on those folks being a part of it and sharing their practical experience. So one caveat that I will circle back to is that a particular hallmark of our program is really maintaining that intrinsic networking that you get with those folks who have been out in the field and sharing your perspective as someone who is coming from a different academic background, a different geographic background potentially, um, and just making sure that we're bringing you together to share your experiences and build your network. That's really a key to our alumni mobility, and our alumni success in the marketplace. So that is a reason why I will say now that within the future, I do not foresee us ever having a fully online master's program, because that connection is just such a hallmark of what we do and why we are good at it. Questions about that?
So are all of the classes only in the evening, or is there just like flexibility with that?
There is, so a majority of our classes do start in the evening. They start at about 6 o'clock. About 10% of the MPA courses are during the day. Um, those would include the accelerated classes that we have in that we run in the summer for our fellows program, but are definitely open to all of our MPA students who are available to take those. The infrastructure management course is always offered during the day because you do field trips to different public organizations and public works units. It's really cool. Um, Gosh, what are the other ones that are offered during the day ish? Some are offered a little earlier in the evening, so they have about a
Okay,
4 o'clock start date or start time.
cool.
But a majority, and especially the core courses, unless they're in an accelerated format, start at that 6 o'clock hour.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then for the fellows program specifically, since all of the coursework is like condensed, would that look differently, or is it the same structure?
So that is a great question. What that looks like in the first year when they're taking almost all of the credits required
Mm,
for the degree, they'll take 3 classes in the summertime, and all 3 of those are accelerated. They're accelerated in different timing formats. So one class might be 1 week, 40 hours in the class, 8 to 5 every day. Those are the contact hours for the degree or for that particular course. The next class might be designed in a 2 week accelerated format where you're coming in for half days and then there's like one full day. The final class is normally designed in a month-long accelerated format where you're visiting for about 3 hours twice a week in the afternoons.
okay.
And then for the fall semester, that's when you get into a few more evening classes, because you're also out doing a part-time internship during your first year of that fellowship. So you're working during the day in a part-time capacity, coming in to do 3 of the 4 courses you're taking in the fall in the evenings. And then traditionally, Hannes Zacharias, who was our professor of practice for the fellows program, he is the guiding light of our fellows, really, because he's had decades of experience as a city and county manager. So it's just a boon to have him as a leader for our students. He likes to schedule that infrastructure management course on Wednesday afternoons. So then you'll be kind of traveling around with the field trips. And then there has been a Wednesday night class, so that's a pretty long day for Wednesday. Don't recommend working at your part-time internship in the morning of that day for sure. And then in the springtime, you do 5 classes. However, all of the fellows take PU 8892 in this. They enroll in it in the spring of their first year, but you're doing monthly meetings starting in the fall semester through the spring semester. And there you're just checking in with each other, reading through a textbook, writing reflections about your experience. So that course is kind of spread out throughout the year. And then in the spring, you're taking, gosh, it's human resources management. You have a couple spaces for electives. So you'll take an elective, you'll do the advanced budgeting finance course. Um, what's the final one? Oh, it's the final creating good public policy course. Yeah,
And then also, sorry, lots of questions specifically with the
this is
fellows
great.
one. Is that offered both on Edwards and Lawrence, or is it just in one specific?
Such a good question. The Fellows Program is only housed at the Lawrence
Okay.
campus. That is a great, great question. Thank you so much
Hmm.
for
Okay.
for
I think that's all
clarifying
I
that.
have right now.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Sam.
Mhm.
What a great co-presenter you are. All right. So so who are our folks in the classroom? I know that I've talked a little bit about who is in the classroom, how you're learning from them, but really based on what I've seen in the last couple years, I've tried to break it down in just these 3 bullet points. Our MPAs are professionals who are interested in impacting the logistics and communities of social systems. They are colleagues invested in the of this advancement and success of each other, and they are people committed to public service. Now, in thinking about the MPA, I get a lot of questions from prospective students who are in the exploration phase who ask about the difference between public administration versus social welfare or business and what business and public administration or even political science in the MPA. And those are all absolutely valid questions because I think that there are things that translate across for all of those as far as what is available to public servants who have those degrees. Um, Sometimes I don't even know how to adequately answer that, and I just check Google instead. But in general, just because of what I see in our classrooms and who I see in our classrooms, I base my response on what our alumni are doing and putting out into the world, which is really shaping the trajectory of society, one cause, one community at a time. That is my big power statement of why I believe in this program and why I think that the MPA is such a special program. Now, the scope of the cause, the scope of the community, it definitely varies. Our alumni are out in these areas in local, state, federal governments, in public service organizations, in nonprofit organizations, in non governmental organizations, and in consulting firms, even on the private sector, which is where we kind of intersect with the MBA program a little bit. What I will say about those consulting firms and intersecting with the private sector is that a lot of our students have now been recruited away from public sector work by these private institutions because they offer such a different perspective and offer such a passion for what they're doing that when private sector organizations go after them, it's for a lot of specifically consulting and project work with municipalities that are hired out. So there's definitely a big intersection and a lot of versatility in where you can go and how you can shift the public administration degree into various sectors of public administration or public service. So I'll get into the actual like breakdown of what sort of scope of public service our graduates have landed in 6 months out from graduation and a little later. But what is another really interesting thing to know about where they end up is that geographically they end up all over the place. So Alfred Ho and Michael Wu, one of our PhD students at the time in 2018, developed this map where you can see that our MPA graduates are all over the country and you don't see it on this represented on this map, but they're all over the world. Um, so what's great is that you can see a little bit of where we have really strong networks of where you might have an interest in going. Kansas is obviously one of our more prouder representations of our MPA alumni, but we also have really great and strong alumni bases and contributors back to the program in Colorado, Missouri, Texas is great, California, all across the western seaboard is really fantastic, and some great folks down in Florida as well. Um, so the only state in the country where we do not have one single MPA alumni working, as far as I know, is North Dakota at this point in time. So Sam, you might be the one.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I know. One can dream. um, but yeah, it's a really great. And what I'll say is, I don't think that there are a lot of MPA programs across the country that have this sort of geographic um, diversity and where folks have ended up. And I really enjoy that we have such a strong network that contributes back into our little program in Kansas from all over the country. All right, we've made it through all of the dry stuff. Like I said, it was the bulk of the presentation, but everything after this is just going to be just so easy to breeze through. So, um, let's talk about opportunities to build connections in the classroom and beyond the classroom. What I want to talk about here is applicable to any graduate program that you might be going into. Um, and it's just about where to find and how to add folks to your network. But some of the things that I'll talk about are specifically relevant to our professional MPA degree. The reason why is because I have built some of these resources in response to what the alumni are asking for and what the students are asking for. So we try to be really reflexive and really responsive to make sure that we're meeting the students' needs where they are encountering challenges, and making sure that they're building connections and receiving the sort of support that they need to be successful professionally and academically. So, to that point, I just want to summarize some of what I call the program perks, but they really just are a part of the program in how we are supporting you in building your soft skills. To quickly break down all of the things, I've put a lot of math in this presentation apparently because I've added all of these things together to equal opportunities for connection. Who knows why? But to start with, we do have the MPA Internship Blackboard site. What that is it is a venue where part time and full time internships and some post graduation opportunities that we receive from employers and alumni, those are the people that are specifically interested in connecting and considering our students for their opportunities. So that is a really great place to find folks to have informational interviews with, and to also find opportunities where you can gain actual experience in public service. The next thing is professionalization sessions. These are held to cover all of the post graduation prep that isn't necessarily addressed in the classroom. These sessions are often what you will see offered at any university career center, but ours are directly and specifically geared towards our MPA students who are seeking public service opportunities at various points in their careers. Like I said, diversity of experience in the classroom equates to needing to have a resume and cover letter session that talks about what your resume and cover letter should look like if you don't have public service experience and you really need to lean on what you've done volunteer wise and what you've done in clubs and organizations at the university level. It also focuses on folks who are making a transition in their career path and they need to figure out how to remarket themselves as a public service leader. So we try and approach it from those different perspectives to make sure that everyone gets good content and also knows how to develop themselves moving forward and out from the program. The next thing that we do is the MPA Student Teams page. This is really just a communication and resource repository that I built. It includes seminar, conference notifications for all of the International City County Managers Conference, Association Conference, a lot of public policy, nonprofit organizations, anything that has a conference seminar that is low cost to students or free, that goes up on that board, just to give you an additional opportunity to connect with folks who are not our alumni, who are in the field that you want to go into. Additionally, on that MPA Teams page, we have the Greener Grass publication that regularly goes up and the Grad Pass publication that goes up. Greener Grass is the MPA specific newsletter that comes out from our communications team that talks about opportunities to engage with students, opportunities to engage with alumni, and has a huge list of mid career and entry level opportunities that are seeking again, our folks, our MPAs, our MPA alumni, and our MPA new graduates. So that's a really great resource to see what's out there and to kind of give yourself an idea of job descriptions that you should be crafting your resume and cover letter materials towards. The Grad Paths letter is a newsletter. It comes from professional development, the college professional development side, and that gives you opportunities to engage with folks on campus from other disciplines, and really share your perspective as a public administrator or public administrator in training with folks who are in social science and humanities disciplines. It's just nice opportunity to find community here on campus as well. Um, Other opportunities for funding that come my way are on that MPA team site. The MPA program update emails that I send out every other week are also traditionally posted on there, just so you have a running record of everything that's going on in the program. And then other program and student tracking resources are also on that MPA teams page. That is really a bulk of what helps students stay successful and on track in the program. As long as they're checking in on that, they can stay pretty plugged in with what's going on, and how to help themselves professionally outside of the classroom. Another resource that we have available is the MPA Student and Alumni Mentoring Network. That is a pretty new venture that helps our students and alumni find each other on a platform that's just more flash mentoring, resource sharing, and that also can occur outside of my purview, which is really helpful. So then I can dedicate my time for folks who are looking for geographically specific mentoring of where they want to go. So that's been a really helpful resource as well for just, again, building soft connections and really expanding your network a little bit more. The ICMA student group membership is something that comes around every year around the summertime. The ICMA is the International City County Managers Association. They have this fantastic conference every year around September, October. And we want to give our students as much opportunity as possible to attend that, because even though it is a City County Managers Association conference, there are tons of resources and tons of trainings that are completely relevant across public sectors. That you can get out of that. So that membership is free. It's just a matter of going through the process of signing up, and then you'll be able to register for the conference for free as well. We also have alumni and professional participation in the classroom. Our alumni come back and teach modules or talk about their practical experience of using the tools that you're getting in the classroom out in the field. We have such a strong and invested alumni network that we are just really lucky to have such great folks who have gone out into the world and used the things and want to come back and share their experience. Um, so that is just something great that we have available as well. And again, all of these opportunities and resources are just more opportunities for connection, for building your own network. So, um, gosh, that's that. Any questions about those program perks? No, I was hoping for the leading question of, well, that's great and all, but what can I do with all of this stuff? Oh, so much, Sam. So, turning the curriculum, turning your academic experience and all of these program perks into a return on investment. When I say investment, I say we are a professional program, so we do not have the GTA, GRA, GA lines that a lot of other graduate programs have. That said, we have folks who are out doing the work. Our total number of graduates in the 2018-2019 academic year was 36. Every single one of them is working. Most of them are working in public sector. The ones that are working in the private sector, especially the one who's in research and consulting, he is a lawyer who works for municipalities at his law firm. all all of his client base is entirely cities. So I do like to count him as someone who is working in the public sector in a way, even though he's not officially public sector. Um, but as I said, the fellowship is obviously going to heavily weight our graduates toward local government, and that is definitely something to be celebrated, and it is something that we are really proud to have as something that we highlight in these numbers as we report them back to NASPA every year for our accreditation requirements. Um, so this is just kind of where we stand as far as our graduates. Where they are and what their titles are summarized on this slide. Feel free to take a screenshot. It is a lot. Um, and I will say, for everyone who is out in the field doing the work and for what they're doing, it's safe to say that they could be at their mission statement phase and they're fulfilling that, right, in their public service journey. But there are parts of every organization, and there are organizations in general that might not be fulfilling, which is why we allow for so much versatility within the curriculum itself. Um, there might be facets of organizations that just speak to what your mission statement is more truthfully. And we want to empower you to explore that and continue to grow in that as you are fulfilling your public service degree or public service career and moving forward in that trajectory. So again, that's really why the MPA program itself is designed to translate across and examine collaborations across all of these sectors of public service. The versatility of the degree, it empowers you to explore and become the professional and the future that future students are going to reach out and connect with so that you will contribute back into the program. You will be back in the classroom one day as a presenter. You will be someone who folks reach out to do informational interviews and to learn more from. Um, what we're really trying to do is just create a huge network and circle of folks who are passionate about doing the best for their communities and causes that they possibly can. So that is that is the easy work that we do today. And that is the easy work that we will continue to endeavor to do to the best of our ability tomorrow. And that is all I have for the day. Do you have any questions?
Nothing that comes to mind specifically right now.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And I will say, my email is right there. My phone number is right there. I have the scheduling link that I send out in all of my emails where folks can block off time on my calendar to talk through things because there are a lot of big questions that come with doing a professional degree and thinking about how you're going to apply that to your life. Um, so I am definitely a resource in that regard. I am going to stop the recording and thank you very, very much for joining me today and for being my co-presenter. It really means a lot to get through this and do the work and to share it with someone. So I really appreciate your time today.